All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 451 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and I just got finished watching the Bucks Falcons game or the Falcons Bucks game, and I don't want to just talk about that game because I did say in my previous video I was going to evaluate that game. I want to talk about the 5 games that we played so far. I'm looking at some stats. I'm tell you what I think as far as what I've seen, and basically just let this run. Just let this episode go based on how I feel and what I've seen so far, because I'm not necessarily 100% disappointed, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. And I think the Falcons are on the right track, but it's a lot of unfortunate things that has happened, and we're going to discuss all of that. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. All the links are down in the description of the podcast and or the visual side of this show. If you want to support in any way possible, it helps, and it goes a long way. I don't want to just continue that spill. Let's go ahead and get into this. 5 games in, the Falcons look like they could easily win every single game that they were in. Even the last game, even though we didn't wake up, or I guess the Buccaneers took their foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. But there are some things that need to be cleaned up. First and foremost, I've seen enough, and I don't think this may not be the best thing to do, but I've seen enough. I don't want to see Marcus Mariota out there anymore. I think Desmond Ridder needs to get a shot to do something. I mean, even if it's, not even starting, just go out there and do something for, a drive. I don't know. I've seen enough of Marcus. Marcus had some flashes in the last game against the Bucks. Don't get me wrong. He looked okay as far as making things happen. But those numbers that he had were just, I don't even know. Those numbers was just really, really, they just weren't up to par. I just don't know what to think about that. But overall, I think I've seen enough. I really have. I mean, when you get a game like this, oh my God, once again, 14-25 for 147. You did throw a touchdown, but no picks. That's a good thing. No picks. He did not turn the ball over. His rating was a little bit higher at 86.6. His QBR was at 59. Between that and what he done against Cleveland, I'm like I said, I think I've seen enough of him. I want to see what Desmond Ridder can do. I really can. I mean, I really want to. And I don't know if that's like conceding the season, if I think about that, or if that should happen, because there's a lot of football left. We only played 5 games. We got 12 games left, so much could happen. But there's just nothing really out there for me to hang my hat on when I look at Marcus Mariota. I just don't know. I don't want to talk about too much of him for the most part, but that just goes like, man, you're completing less than 60% of your passes. You haven't even gotten over 1,000 yards yet, and it's 5 games in. I mean, you're averaging less than 200 yards a pass. I mean, 200 yards a game. You're averaging 185 a game. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, he is the 3rd leading rusher on the team. I mean, if that means anything, I don't know. I just don't. I mean, he has 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, to me, I'm not saying he's the weakest link, but he's not helping matters either. When you look at the rushing game, the running game, Tyler Algier looked like he's going to be the guy for a while now. Cordell Patterson's out with he's on IR. Caleb Huntley, he's been looking okay, or whatever the case may be. Avery Williams had a touchdown today, so that was pretty, not today, but the last game. So that was pretty solid. So I'm just looking at the stats. The receiving side of things, I think Drake London is going to be a star. I think he's going to be one of the top receivers in the game. Already as a rookie, you have 22 catches for 266, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you can't ask more than that right there. I mean, as a rookie, he's doing pretty good. Kyle Pitts is out, but even though he's out, he had 10 catches for 150 so far. And Olamide Zaccheaus, let me tell you something about him. He's very efficient. He's been targeted 14 times and has 12 receptions. That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, if anything, two passes that came your way weren't completions. So, I mean, That's very efficient for Zacchaeus. So we might need to find ways to get him the ball a little bit more. Also, Kadar Hodge, 8 for 12 is not too bad either. Defensively, all right, this is where things is going to, I'm going to have to talk about a lot when it comes defensively, because sometimes the secondary looks like they're on point, and sometimes the secondary look like they're out of place. And this past game, they gave up 350 yards to Tom Brady. Yes, I know it's Tom Brady, but that's a lot to give up in the yardage. Now, they only scored 21 points, which is cool. You know, you think somebody throw for 351, you think they're going to be scoring about 40 points. It was only 21 points. All right, cool. But the secondary cannot give up that many, receiving yards. I mean, receiving or passing yards. I mean, I think Brady threw the ball for like 52 times, which is a lot. But you got to find a way to make something happen with all of those passes. I mean, we almost had one interception, maybe a couple of them that I remember. But the secondary, the secondary is going to have to do something about that. I mean, it's just something that's going to have to be done. The guys in the front seven, I don't know what kind of defense we were running, but we was giving up a lot of dink and dunk passes. I don't know if that's all on the secondary or if that's just the linebackers just running a different play to clear that area. That's where Tom Brady got a lot of his passes completed, because nobody was in the vicinity to play defense. Troy Anderson came in and tried to make a little difference. I mean, I like Troy Anderson, which I'll probably make a video about him later on my YouTube channel, because Troy Anderson looks like the guy that could be a long-term staple for this team. I think it'd be a long-term staple, and that's something that you will want out of any of your draft picks. But when you look at the numbers and looking at the eye test as well, I think Rashad Evans looked pretty good. Michael Walker so-so. Richie Grant has stepped up big time. A.J. Terrell's been up and down. After the last two games that he had against Cleveland and Seattle, it looked like he was a little shaky again against the Bucs. So I don't know how to feel about that. Jalen Hawkins been stepping up as well. You also had Grady Jarrett does already have 3.5 sacks, which is a good thing. Lorenzo Carter's right behind him with 1.5. Taquan Graham has been playing pretty good as well. Ogundeji so-so. Casey Hayward, sometimes you find him, sometimes you don't. But when you look at this defense in general, I think the defense has done a pretty good job as far as keeping, things in front of them early in the season. Now, this last game against the Bucs, I don't know too much about that. Also, there's been times they got beat deep on a few other plays. The Saints game, not so much that I recall. I mean, a lot of that stuff was one-on-one where A.J. Terrell got beat by, what's his name? Slant Boy. I can't remember his name just that quick. Yeah, Slant Boy from the Saints. He got beat by him. And then he did pretty good against the Rams. And then we turn around and lock a couple of good receivers down, and then Mike Evans just happens. Richie Grant has been doing pretty good at the safety position. I haven't seen much out there to make me scratch my head. Casey Hayward, he was all over the place at first, but he kind of tightened up a little bit. So like I said, I think there's something there where the defense just needs to continue to not let anything beat them deep. The front seven, we already know what's going on. What's his name? Deion Jones has been traded to the Browns, so he's not there anymore. Troy Anderson's pretty much stepped in. Rashad Evans has been looking pretty good. So the linebackers, I don't know what type of scheme they was trying to run in the last game against the Bucs, but prior to that, they've been looking pretty good. The front seven in general has been pretty decent throughout the season, but this game it was a little different. Front four, you can't say nothing about Grady Jarrett, Lorenzo Carter, Ogundeji, Taquan Graham. Those guys have been playing pretty good for the most part. You also had a situation with the messed up roughing the passer call. That was a game pivotal situation. It goes back to what I was saying in the other games earlier this year. Grady Jarrett has found a way to get to the quarterback at the right time, and that was one of those moments the ref just took it away. And that was just very disheartening because we had the momentum on our side. We was down 15-21. I understand that some people may say the Bucs let up off us a little bit, but you can't do that in the NFL. I don't care who you think you're playing. You can't let up off them because they can sneak and beat you in the long run. So kudos to the front seven. I'm still a fan of what they're doing. I'm not mad at none of that, what they're doing. The Linebackers, a little shaky. Yeah, they're a little shaky. They'll have to step that up. And the secondary is just hit and miss. One day they're on, one day they're not. One day they're hitting, one day they're missing. So I don't know what to expect of that. They play San Francisco next Sunday, and that's going to be another test. Can they do anything to slow down Jimmy Garoppolo and company? I think they can, because that front seven and front four is actually getting pressure. And they're getting pressure at the right time. And if you get pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo, you may have something. So overall, I feel okay. At 2-3 is not what I was looking for. I'm mostly looking for a 3-2, but they're 2-3. Yeah, they got some time. They got some chances to make some things happen. They can move some things around. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, with the team going forward, because you just don't know what team's going to show up. Even in our wins, we look a little shaky, but when it was time to shut the door, we shut the door. We just didn't have that, we basically didn't have that opportunity this go around against the Bucs. And even if we had the opportunity, I think we missed it. And the ref gave one away anyway, but that's another story. So I feel that the Falcons at the 5 games, I think they're on an even keel to show some success. From what I'm looking at now, this still could be a 7-10 season, just like it was last year. I'm not sure if I see anything past that, but it all depends on what Marcus Mariota do. If he steps his game up, or Desmond Ridder comes in and makes some things happen as far as production, then we're talking about a whole new ball game. But right now, I'm looking at 7-10, maybe 6-11. The way Marcus Mariota's playing, but I'm leaning towards that 7-10. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you think, how you feel after 5 games. Do the Falcons look like they can, make noise, or you think they're just gonna look to next year to do some things? Let me know what you guys think. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, so you can check out any of my other episodes, or you could be on Program Manager, listen to any episode at your leisure at any time you want to. So that's a good thing about the podcast side. And you don't have to use too much data, because you can just download the podcast yourself and listen to it at any time. Hopefully you guys will check out the rest of the podcast, all the episodes, and subscribe if you don't mind. I'm going to get up out of here, and y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.